so give him a break.
Good morning, YouTube. I'm at a red light. It is 5:40 a.m. I got up at 5:05. Spent a bit of time getting ready, toiletries and stuff. I think I spent too much time in the toilet, man. I think we should make toilets uncomfortable so people just get in and get out. If they're too comfortable, you just like sit there all day. I have no coffee. Maybe I should get some coffee before I go. So last night I was having fun with my son. We were making videos by the river. I have a very long monopod that I use with my 360 camera, and what is this? Is this parking? No. I'm at the convenience store. Did I not bring? I got my wallet. Okay. And I left the monopod. Long story short, I left the monopod at the river. And it's kind of expensive, so I'm gonna go and get it now. So I'm up early. Grab a coffee, go get my monopod. So parking at a parking lot here at a convenience store, it's free for 20 minutes, but after that you gotta pay 1,000 yen or 400 yen per hour. What is it? 100 bucks, 100 yen for 20 minutes. That's kind of weird. I've never seen that before. I guess a lot of people have been parking illegally. Okay, that's what's going on. Okay, let's get back to doing a time lapse. Let's get back to the time lapse too. Crowd is the roads are surprisingly crowded tonight. This morning. It's not even night. Usually it's not this crowded, so I guess people get up really early to go to work. When I travel, and I used to travel quite a bit, I would make it a point of getting up at sunrise, walking around the city, because you see a completely different city, a completely different group of people are out and about and doing things that are really exciting. Some of those things are really interesting. Maybe exciting at 5 in the morning is not the right word, but they're really interesting to see what people do. Now this is not particularly interesting, but all these people are up really early and already starting their days. There's some crows flying overhead, which is it. That's interesting. A lot of these are trucks. A lot of normal cars too. And the sun in Tokyo, by the way, comes up at 5:55 a.m. and the sun in Nagoya, where I am, comes up at 6:05, and it is now 5:50. So as you can see, the sky is getting lighter. But I'm sure some scientifically inclined viewer can figure out if it's not the sun that's just moving. It's not simply the sun, but it's also the rotation of the Earth. And I honestly don't even know which way the Earth is rotating. Does anyone know which way is it rotating? Which way does it rotate, east to west, or is it another direction? Is it like a northeast? I don't even know. I feel like that's something I should know. But it's a combination of the Earth's rotation and the sun doesn't move, so it's actually the sun doesn't move at all, does it? Does the sun rotate? Does the sun move? I don't think suns move. So the sun doesn't move, so it's actually just the speed of the rotation of the Earth, yeah. And that affects how we see the sun or how we get the sun's light. Anyway, just random thoughts on this beautiful Monday morning. So I'm nearing the place where I left my my monopod. As you can see, it's out in the middle of the country. It's down this. I was coming to pick up my son yesterday, and I found him out here on his bicycle by himself. And this is kind of near where my grandparents live. It's actually a good 10-minute walk away, but he was on his bicycle on this road. I saw him as I drove by. So I beeped and I turned around and made a loop and came back and we hung out here in the fields and took some videos and had some fun. And then he said he wanted to go to the table, and the table is up here by the river. See that tower on the left there? That's some kind of there's some kind of dam, some water reservoir. I don't know what it's for, to be honest with you. But he said, let's go over there. Oh, and he said, let's go to the cemetery. There's a cemetery, right? Where's the cemetery? Over there. There's a cemetery in the middle. You can't really tell from here, but there's a cemetery there, and that's where my in-laws, their grandparents are going to get buried. They already have plots picked out. They're going to be buried in their neighborhood. That cemetery, the plot. Now this is where, oh man, this is like in the middle of nowhere. Let's see which way did I go? Which way was it? I think it's this way. Yeah. I hope the monopod's still there. Of course, I don't know. As you can see, we're winding through these roads here. I think it'll still be there because we're like the last ones. One of the last ones to go up to this area where people are fishing up here. You'll see when I get up here. Oh, it's still there. Great. I'll let you guys take a gander what this looks like. It's really quite pretty. Okay. People are fishing. See, this guy's fishing here. Look at that. This is where we made the video yesterday. And here's my monopod. I should have brought my 360 camera. I could do another video right now. It would have been quite nice. See, 26 minutes. Come out here to get this monopod. See? Here we go. It's a nice image, huh? Okay, so good morning again. It's 6:19 now, and I'm on my way home after a morning trip to pick up this monopod. So I'll give you guys a little laundry video as we head back. Whoa, the sun is really bright out there. So I'll tell you about my fatherhood journey, because it's a journey. You know, it's not really, you're not born knowing how to be a father, even though you've seen your father be a father his whole life, and maybe he was a great father, but until you do it, it's quite a different thing. I guess I should tell you about my father first. And my father was a great father, but he made a lot of mistakes, I guess. But I've got no real complaints. I mean, that's just the journey, right? My father spanked me. I guess people would think maybe that was the biggest flaw. But he loved me, and I could tell that he suffered when he spanked me. He spanked me once, and it was completely my fault. I had gone off on my sister, yelling at her, and he came in and spanked me. Even now, it almost brings tears to my eyes. But I went into his room to apologize because I had been wrong. But he was on the bed, sitting there on the bed. He was crying. knew that he was suffering, right? He didn't like to spank me, but he didn't know better. He told me later, he said, you know, his mother basically beat the shit out of him. His mother, he told me these stories about his mother, my grandma, chasing him down the street with a spoon to beat him. Once he told me, just adjust this a little bit. Once he told me he lost some like tuition money. And I think he said it was 1 sol, because remember, sol is the currency in Peru. He was my family's from Peru. He lost 1 sol, and it was the tuition money, and his mom was so furious that she chased him down the street to beat him with a spoon. I don't know if that's how accurate these stories are, of course, not really matter. But the point is, my father was beaten by his mother, who didn't know any better, and then he in turn spanked us. But I mean, I don't think that's such a strange thing. You know, if you think about it, probably your parents were spanked too. You can tell me in the comments, were you spanked? Were your parents spanked? I was spanked, so I was spanked. And I was kind of like, it didn't really hurt that much, but it was supposed to. So my deal with spanking was get spanked, cry a few tears, whether it hurt or not. That'll make them stop. Go on with your life, right? My mom was a kind of ear puller and hair puller. She'd grab the hair at the back of my neck and like take me to my room, go clean your room or something. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't like I have any memories of like sustained beatings or anything. We were spanked. Got the belt too. Never the buckle, just the belt. And my mother was good at building my father up as the terror, right? Wait till your father gets home, then you're really gonna get it, you know, that kind of thing. But I do remember one day we lived we lived in front of a small lake, and for my father to reach our house, he had to drive all the way around the lake, and we could see him coming from far away. Like, he had to drive all the way around the lake to get to our house. So we would look at when it was time for my father to come home and spank us, you know, because we had done something bad that day, or my mother had warned us. We would sit by the window, me and my brother, or maybe my sister too. I don't remember her so much in the picture, but me and my brother definitely were always getting into trouble. We're about a year apart, so a year and a half, and like, oh, here comes Dad, you know. And we'd be like almost panicking. Oh, here comes Dad. What do we do? And it must have sucked to be my dad. You know, can you imagine coming home and then having your wife say, "Okay, time to beat the kids"? That must have sucked. But that's what my father had to do. You know, at the end of a day, at the end of a day of work, you'd have to come back and look at that sun, man, right in my eyes, and beat us. So that must have not been what you want to come home to. Anyway, I have spanked my children a little bit, but I've been trying not to, and I've been trying, you know, without even thinking I've done it, because I don't know, 'cause I'm an idiot. And I know better, and I'm trying to not hit them, not like beat them, just like a cuff on the head, you know, like that kind of thing when they do something wrong. And I even told my son, hey, if you ever think I'm going to hit you, just tell me, stab me out of it, right? But you know, we're trying to teach them and discipline them, and like when my son is like throwing baseballs in the house, like, what the hell's your problem? How can you think it's okay to throw a baseball in the house? You know, he got a slingshot. He made a slingshot the other day, and he was like testing it in the house, and he was hitting the window with the slingshot. I'm like, dude. But nothing really violent. My brother and I once started a fire in the woods near an apartment building, and some neighbor called called my father. I don't know how he found out no phone number, but he found out who we were, called my father. My father came and picked us up. We drove out to the woods near the apartment. They were like some, not even woods, they were just like some wild, undeveloped areas behind an apartment building that we were playing with fire. We were playing with fire there, and he came, and we were with a friend. We were with Walter, I remember. And it was actually Walter who was doing the fire. And I talked to Walter, we connected with Walter on Facebook years ago, and I asked him about this memory. He has no memory of this at all. But we remember, and he was the guilty party in this case. He started the fire, but we were with him. We were all guilty, I suppose. But I guess Walter was the most guilty here. Anyway, Walter started the fire, and then we stomped it out with our feet, and then some neighbor caught us stomping on the fire. And then my father came and picked us up. He was furious. He drove Walter home first. He picked us all up. He drove Walter home. Then he brought us back to our room. And he was so angry, yelling at us that he pounded a radio. We had a portable, not a portable, but a radio. I don't remember what kind of radio. Maybe it was portable. I don't think it was portable. Anyway, he hit it so hard he just crushed the radio. So I gotta get a better stand. This thing is shaking a little bit. So I've never done anything like that. I've never crushed anything. I was so angry. Never broken anything. But you know, I've given him a cuff on the head. But mostly, my experiences have been pretty good with my kids. But the other day, I did something I do regret. The other day, I came home from a long day of work and a good day of work. I had a really good day of work. I had all my lessons prepared and everything was great. And I came home and nobody greeted me at the door. And I come in, my kids are just watching TV, completely, ignoring me. And I'm like, I just walked up. My wife was on the, she didn't hear me, she was drying her hair, but she did, apparently she did say, "Okaidi," which means welcome back. Oh shit, I think this was on. But I was, disappointed, so I told her, these kids. She goes, "What?" She said, they don't even say hello. They're sitting there glued to the TV, right? And she's like, she got off the hairdryer and said, "Kids, say hello to your father." And they barely reacted. So I said, "You guys are little shits." I said that to them, which I shouldn't have. Because they know these bad words. I said, "You're little shits." I come home, all you have to do is just say, "Hi, Dad," You don't say anything. You can't even turn off the TV. You can't pause. You can't look away. You just... And I went and took my shower. Remember, in Japan we shower at night before you go to bed, or bath. I usually take a shower because I'm lazy. I don't want to do the whole bath. Sometimes we take a bath. They take a bath sometimes. Anyway, so then my daughter came over to me, and when I was in the bath showering, she knocked on the door. She said, "Papa, gomenne." She said, "Okaidi, iwanakte gomenne. I'm sorry I didn't say welcome home." And she was crying. But my son didn't do anything. He's like, I'm going to bed. It was really early. It was like 8 o'clock or something. And my wife said, "Are you sleepy?" He goes, "No." He just knew that he was in trouble, so he wanted to go to bed. And this is the climax of the story, the worst part of the story. It gets worse. So we all went to bed, and I went upstairs and I told him, I said, "Look, I'm sorry I yelled at you, but it just makes me sad that you guys can't even say hello, when I come home." And That's it, we went to bed. He never ended up apologizing or saying anything, but in the middle of the night, he wakes me up with a tap, 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 tap. And I said, what happened? What's going on? And he said, chibita, which means I peed my pants a little bit. But chibita means just a little bit. So I didn't get angry or anything. My father told me that when he was a kid and he did that, if he did that when he was a kid, his mom would like get really angry and like spank him for doing that. So, but the thing is, he never does that. He has not done that in years. I can't even remember the last time. It's natural when kids, get. Just where I should turn. It's natural for kids to have accidents after they're potty trained and all that, and they stop wearing diapers. That's not a big deal. But it usually happens like the first year after they've stopped wearing diapers. But in my son's case, it happened like 2 or 3 years after he stopped wearing diapers. I don't even remember when he stopped wearing diapers. Anyway, it's been years, So I blame myself. Obviously, not obviously, but I'm pretty sure it's not a coincidence that he would do that on the day that I yelled at him and called him a little shit. Which is, I really shouldn't have done that. So, and the other thing that's been frustrating me with the kids, is they don't speak English, but they watch English shows and they understand everything I'm saying. They just don't make an effort to speak English. And of course, my wife mostly speaks Japanese to them and with them. But she can't speak English. It's just, it's just not a natural thing. And experts say that you should only speak your native tongue to the child. So, yeah. Anyway. So I've been trying to get them to speak English more, and that has not been very successful. And I've been complaining about it, but then my daughter says the other day, I want to go to English school. I'm like, what? And her friend at her nursery school, my friend goes to English school and she can speak English. And of course, the kid cannot speak English, but my daughter has this impression that if you go to school, you just learn immediately. And my daughter understands more than everybody at that school, I'm sure, but she doesn't verbalize, right? Recently, but they've started. But anyway, I've been complaining about that. So my wife says, I help them with their kanji, and my son's kanji grades are great. She gets 100% every time. She says, I think it's ridiculous that we're going to pay for Emily to go to English school when we have an English teacher right in the house, right? So I said, you're right. That would be ridiculous. So, although I complain, I haven't really, I've sat down with them a couple times with an English book that I bought, and pictures and stuff, and trying to help them, but I haven't really pushed them in a kind of a teacher-student setting to teach them English, because I just thought they would start speaking with me in English. But I guess I really got to sit down with them and make it part of their weekly or daily, maybe even routine, or they're not going to pick it up, right? And a friend of mine recently, another teacher, he brought his kid to work the other day, and there was a meeting, and he didn't have anyone to look after his kid, so he brought his kid to work and just had him sitting at his desk in the teacher's lounge. We had a meeting in another room, so the kid was sitting there, and the kid was fluent and the same age as my son, and the kid was like so fluent, really spoke English really, really well, like a native almost. Yeah, and he's Japanese too. It's really good. So he could verbalize quite fluently and eloquently in both languages. I'd say probably his English is a little more childish than his Japanese, but still. But I was jealous. I was like, damn, my kid doesn't do that. And the thing is, I think the father told me, he said, it's a gaijin, of course. The father told me, well, you know, I just refuse to speak with him unless he answers in English. Which is hard to do, I think. I gotta take my hats off to that guy. That's hard to do. Refuse to speak to the guy's eating a banana, driving and eat a banana. That's hard to do. I think it would be hard for me to do. So, but I do have to put more effort into getting them to verbalize. And recently they've started. Nice Harley Davidson. Recently they've started a little bit more. This happened like just a few days ago, really. But even in that short time, they've started to change a little bit. And so there's hope. It's a nice sound. There's hope. So I can only, you know, hope and try a little harder. But my wife and I had we had a rare night alone on Saturday night. The in-laws took the kids for the night. So I said, hey, you want to go to the movies or, you know, do something? And she said, no, let's just stay home and relax. So we stayed home, and I thought we might, you know, watch a movie or something together. But you know what we did? We just sat there and talked for like 2 hours. Not like we need to talk kind of thing. No, we just had dinner and enjoyed a conversation, which doesn't seem like a lot, like a big deal, but unless you get a chance, unless you haven't talked for a while, then yeah, it's like I guess we had needed this talk. We hadn't had a talk, a casual conversation about life or anything in a long time, and it was really good. We really needed it. But we talked about a lot of things, about the kids, of course, and about how to be better parents, and how we had both I guess let them down or made mistakes or whatever, and how we can be better. So we talked about that, and that was good. We had a good conversation, and we had a nice evening as a couple for the first time in a long time. So it's a journey, and the next day, you know, again, the next morning, or the next day, we went to get the kids, and my wife said, I've got a serious conversation. I've got something serious to tell you. Anytime someone comes to the door, no matter who it is, you have to go to, everyone stops what they're doing, and you go and greet that person. If it's Ji-chan or Ba-chan, you know, grandpa, grandma, or daddy or mommy, or whoever, go to the door and greet them. And then my son's like, what about the delivery guy? What about the delivery guy? Because every week we get food delivered. We have a delivery guy. We call him the 06 guy. What about the 06 guy? My mom says, okay, you don't have to greet the 06 guy. And they start, you know, they start thinking up scenarios. What about Amazon? What about the Amazon? So you don't have to read Amazon, but anybody who's visiting, like the neighbors, so we have a couple of people in the neighborhood who visit us sometimes. If anyone comes to the house, you have to stop everything that you're doing and greet them. And they're like, okay, we can do it. And I'm gonna have to sit down and teach them a little bit more English formally. So they do have books that I bought them, but we haven't really been using them. So, you know, I can't really complain if I'm not putting in the effort. That's the point. So yeah, and that's something that I think I do less than other people, is complain without doing something about it. So I'm going to do something about it. So if you have a problem in your life, stop your complaining, do something about it. That's the point. All right, that's enough for now, guys. I'm almost home, and I got to rush because the kids will be up in 10 minutes, and then gotta get get everyone ready for school. And today I gotta do a Halloween lesson class. So we're gonna do that. That's fun. Looking forward to that. So I got to get to school a little bit early so I can find those copies. I only do this once a year. I do a Halloween lesson once a year. I got files and files of lessons at school that I've made. I gotta find the proper one and make copies and stuff. Lesson plan. Anyway, thanks for watching always. If you have any insight on this, I would be happy to hear your thoughts on fathering. Not perfect, but I'd like to say I'm doing the best I can, but obviously I wasn't, and I'm sure I'll make some more mistakes, but hopefully I'll learn from those sooner than later. Anyway, have a good whatever time of the day it is. wherever you are. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.